Hello my friends. So normally I do like a quarterly reading wrap up. Those take a really long time to film and edit, and this month I happened to read more books than I normally would. So I'm just going to give you guys an October reading wrap up and stop trying to be special and just accept that I am a full-time student and a part-time employee, and I have a life outside of reading, and I am not able to read 20 books a month like everyone else is. I am just going to talk to you guys about the 7 books that I read this month, and I'm going to be okay with that. Yes, I read 7. I blinked. I forgot how to do simple math for a moment. Okay, so the first book that I read this month was Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. So originally I started this book like right after I finished Dance of Thieves. But I never ended up like finishing it right off. I think I went into another book because like my brain needed a break from fantasy. But I came back to it, and at the beginning of the book I was like, I'm really struggling to get into it, but I know that I struggled to get into Dance of Thieves too. I was like, I could see this maybe being like a 3.5, and somehow at the like 40-50% mark, this book went from 3.5 to like a 4.5, and then by the end I decided that this is a 5-star book, and not only a 5-star book, but it went on my little Goodreads shelf of my 6-star reads of the year. And so if you don't know anything about Dance of Thieves, which is the book that comes before this one, it is about Kazi and Jace. And Kazi is like this well-known thief, but the queen of her country took her in to be like a special guard for the queen. I forget what they were called. But she's a part of the queen's special guard. And she is sent on this mission into Jace's country, and Jace is like not about it. Not about it at all. He hates Kazi. He hates what she's there to try to do. Like, she's trying to arrest him for treason. I loved this book so much. Jace and Kazi hold a part of my heart. The enemies to lovers that is in this book, oh my gosh. I love it so much. And I love the brother dynamic between Jace and one of his brothers. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. Because I went from wanting to kill him to like wanting to give him a hug. And the one chapter, if you've read the book, I tabbed it, I swear. The one chapter on, where is it? Page 309, chapter 42. If you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. And the whole part where they like dropped that chapter, where Jace dropped it, you know, just out of the blue. Oh my gosh. I love them so much. Okay, anyways. This is my first 5-star of the month. I had 2 this month, which is a lot for me, I feel like. So, anyways. After that, I moved on to Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This is a young adult mystery dark academia type novel, and let me just start off by saying it reminded me a lot of John Green. Of course, I really enjoyed John Green, but I feel like I've outgrown it a little bit. This book kind of felt like a John Green wrote a mystery novel, which I guess he kind of did, but I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. We are following Stevie as she goes to this really prestigious school because she's like really good at solving crime. And she's like obsessed with crime podcasts, murder mysteries, all that. Very high level of obsession, like fixated on it. And there was this murder at the school of the founding guy's family, and it hasn't been solved in the 80 years since it happened. And she's brought into the school to kind of solve it. And while she is like there trying to solve it, some like crazy stuff starts happening. It's supposed to be getting like a little bit crazy. Honestly, this book bored me throughout the good first half of it. Like, the first half I was like, ugh, it's like a 2-star read. But then the second half, it picked up a little bit. And this is a trilogy, and the same story continues out over the first 3 books. So you can imagine it moves kind of slow if it has to stretch out a mystery over that long. So it makes sense that I was only like invested for the second half. And the second half is like 4-star. So of course I landed on a 3-star rating for this. And it's a really good book to read in fall though. Very atmospheric. Not a bad book, not a great book. And then I picked up Letters to the Lost by Brigid Kemmerer. whatever her name is. I struggle every time, cannot figure out how to say it. This book is about Juliet, and her mom died, and so she's going to visit her mom at the cemetery, and she writes these letters to her mom. Juliet writes this letter to her mom, and she leaves it on the grave. And there's Declan, who works at the cemetery because he is doing community service because he just got out of jail or whatever, and he needs X amount of hours of community service, and his community service is working at the graveyard. And he finds the letter and he writes back. And this book keeps you moving. The pacing of this book is so fast, so good. I literally read 90% of this book in one sitting because each new chapter starts with a new letter. If you like slow burn, this is literally the slowest burn, but there's so much tension. Oh, it's so good. I loved this book so much. There's so much tension. It's amazing. There was like one twist in this book that kind of made me roll my eyes and be like, oh, not this. This is cringe, this is awkward, this is unnecessary. But other than that, the story was great. Like I said, each chapter begins on a letter, and you always want to know what they're saying to each other because they haven't met in person. Yeah, did I mention that? They're both high schoolers. They go to the same high school. But they don't realize who they're talking to. So it's got that whole aspect to it. And it's just, you always want to know what they're saying to each other. Ugh, it's so good. And it has a really high rating on Goodreads too. Like, why are people not talking about this book more? It's so good. I gave it a 4.5 stars. Did I say that? Yeah, I gave this a 4.5 stars. Like I said, read it practically in one sitting. It was amazing. And then, like I said, the Truly Devious is a trilogy. And so I picked up The Vanishing Stair from my library because I was like, if I didn't like the first one, probably wouldn't be worth going out to buy the second and third one. So I just checked them out of the library. They all kind of run together in my head, but I do remember that I liked this one more. And I think I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. Same premise, where like the beginning was like boring and the second half was okay, like good. Like I said, I did like this one better. You still have that fall setting in Vermont, and it's amazing. It's so atmospheric. The main character, Stevie, she's just really funny to like see her like try to form relationships and create social interactions. It's really kind of funny because she's so awkward, and it's like, girl, I feel you, I get you, like I'm right there with you. And then I read The Hand on the Wall, which is the third book in Truly Devious. This one, I mean, I feel like it just ended it. Like, that's all it did. I was just reading this book so I could be done, and the entire time I was like, can we just be done with this book already? Like, just tell me what happened. And then it told me what happened, and I felt like pulled it out of a hat, just like drew it out of a hat, and was like, oh, this person's gonna be the one who did it. Like, I don't know, it didn't make the most sense to me. And there's also a very heavy subplot of politics, and it's throughout the trilogy, but it's very, very heavy in this one compared to the other two. And I just did not appreciate it. Like, I am reading books to escape from the real world, and when you put that many like realistic politics in there, even if it is 2018 politics, it's still like, can we just leave it out? Please. Like, please and thank you. I'm reading this book to escape. I don't need something from the real world in there that's like that stressful. So that being said, I gave this book 2.5 stars. Like I said, didn't really enjoy it that much. I mean, it finished the trilogy. This one also takes place in winter. Or well, I guess technically in fall, but like in Vermont, fall is like obviously blizzard season. So they're just snowed into a cabin for most of the book. The vibes helped raise the rating for the first two. This one, no vibes whatsoever. Maybe if I read this book in like January, I would have felt better about it, but I don't know. Just didn't really impress me that much. Overall, I would give that series like a 3-star, and I would recommend the first two. And then like if you want to read this one, you can, like if you need to know what happens, but you could honestly handle just Googling them. Googling the ending. Girl. Now we have our next 5-star of October and our last final 5-star of October. Did I mention that before this I had not had any 5 stars since like the 2nd of August? Like, it has been a solid 3 months before the Ballad of Thieves. But then I read The Ballad of Never After. Whew. Oh my gosh. I am so flipping in love with Jax. Okay, so this is the second installment in the Once Upon a Broken Heart wow, I can't talk. Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber, which follows the Caraval trilogy, which if you want to read Caraval first, read it first, because this trilogy will spoil Caraval for you. But if you have no interest in reading Caraval, you don't have to read it. Like, I read it in 8th grade, like 4 years ago. And to be quite honest, I don't really remember anything, and I'm still picking everything up in here. I mean, some things itch my brain. I'm like, was that in Caraval? Was that in Caraval? But it's not a huge deal. If you're like me and you read them a long time ago, look up a plot summary. Works wonders. Anyways, Once Upon a Broken Heart follows Evangeline Fox. She goes to this temple to pray to a fate, which in this world, a fate is kind of like a god, kind of not. And the one that she prays to is the Prince of Hearts. And she asked him to do something for her, but he asked for 3 kisses in return. So she's kind of cursed by him. And the whole thing with the Prince of Hearts is that no one can kiss him except for his true love. He's already found his true love, so every other girl who kisses him dies. They go on this journey together, kind of. If you liked Once Upon a Broken Heart, or even if you were kind of iffy on Once Upon a Broken Heart, and you haven't picked up The Ballad of Never After, pick up The Ballad of Never After. Plus, A Curse for True Love just came out. So this book it's heartbreaking. This book breaks your heart. As you can see, I loved it so much. I tabbed like everything. I literally am like head over heels for Jax. Head over heels. Was so in love with him. The whole world is just so magical and so amazing and so beautiful. And I am literally obsessed. It does end on a cliffhanger though, if you haven't figured that out yet from everyone else's videos. This book ends on a cliffhanger. So, but luckily, A Curse for True Love is out now, so none of y'all have to suffer through like waiting for it to come out. Okay. And the last book that I read this month is Flawless by Elsie Silver. Flawless by Elsie Silver. Gosh, English just said, not today, Paige, not today. Anyways, this is a like cowboy country romance, and anytime you say country anything, I'm like, I'll read it. I'll read it. Also, I'm probably just really culturally ignorant, but I did not realize this book took place in Canada. Like, I must be incredibly culturally ignorant, and because I live in the United States, and I thought cowboys were just like American thing. But apparently not. They have them in Canada too. But anyways, you have Rhett, and he is this bull rider, and he's like the super famous bull rider who is like riding in like what could be his last season. And then you have Summer, who is his agent's daughter, and Rhett does something bad, and Summer is sent to kind of babysit him, like to help him work on his, like basically as his like PR girl, and help him like work on his public image and his reputation after he did that bad thing. Obviously, you can guess where that goes from there, but I'm actually really excited to continue in this series. However, no one told me to expect as much spice from this as there was, because like obviously I've dipped my toe in some adult romance, and some of it is like full of spice and some of it's not. This, very spicy. I did not realize that going into it. Again, probably just me being ignorant, but it felt like a physical relationship because of the amount of spice that was in there, but it also had enough emotional connection for me to not get lost and feel like it was superficial. So I gave this book 3.75 stars, and I'm actually really excited to read Heartless because I loved Luke so much. Apparently Heartless is Cade's book. I'm so excited, and I hope that Luke is in there because I feel like that's going to be really cute. That being said, that is all the books that I read in October. If you guys prefer this style of me doing recaps, let me know. Yeah, that is all for today, and I hope you all have an amazing November. Anyways, bye guys.